Good day, and welcome to RGA's International Women's Day webcast, a day to celebrate women and to reflect upon the importance of women and diversity inside and outside of the workplace. To this end, today we'll be talking to and hearing from women who are breaking boundaries and doing fabulous things. First up, we have Alka Gautam, who's EVP Global Operations for RGA and President and CEO of RGA Canada.
Happy International Women's Day, a day when we celebrate the incredible achievements of women, but also an opportunity to share our stories, and this is mine. My career with RGA spans well over 20 years, and in those early days, the insurance industry was traditionally male, and actuarial expertise dominated. As a woman and an accountant, I came in feeling somewhat like an underdog, questioning what could I contribute. And if you couple that with my cultural upbringing, I was raised in a very traditional East Indian household, much like other Asian households, where respect for elders, respect for authority, and often deference to elders and authority were baseline values. I had to build the confidence that my voice was equally important, that my perspective and experience brought high value to the table, that I could actually make a big difference. I also had to unlearn the tendency to sit in the background and to defer to others. My biggest development opportunity about 10 years ago was to be more assertive, to say what I was thinking, to be that person who expresses their thoughts and drives discussion. My strong advice to you is do not wait for someone else to say what you were thinking. Express the thoughts in your head. You are at the table because people have confidence in you, and at RGA, it's even expected of you. Women have tremendous soft skills and high emotional intelligence. Use that. It's an incredible skill and a differentiating asset. The ability to recognize emotions in ourselves, in others, and to relate to people. It is an essential leadership behavior, and I believe this is something that comes naturally to women. Women are nurturers. We are empathetic. We are good listeners, and we value teamwork. We offer better conflict resolution. That's because we're natural peacemakers and more sensitive to the possibility that there could be a problem. And we'll often sit there and help everyone work through the issues through to resolution. So leverage your soft skills. These are a pro, not a con. Be confident, be authentic, be yourself. Celebrate yourselves on this day, and I wish you great success in all that you do.
Powerful and authentic message from Alka. Leverage what we have and what we're naturally good at. I'm here with Liesbeth Pruijs. Welcome, Liesbeth. Liesbeth is the president of UN Women Netherlands and also co-founder of her own business, The Next Level. Thanks for joining me here today, Liesbeth.
Thank you for having me.
Obviously, International Women's Day is an important day, but what does it mean to you personally and professionally?
Well, I'm always looking forward to International Women's Day, not only because it's a big opportunity to really dwell on the achievements of women worldwide, but for me it's also a day of activism. I always try to raise awareness about the importance of the empowerment of women and also about the importance of gender equality. So it's celebrating the achievements, but also a day of activism.
Yeah.
I sometimes ask myself, why is it still necessary to celebrate International Women's Day? Because if we look at the Netherlands, we have achieved a lot. But if you look at the global level, there is still a lot to gain. And you only have to look at the situation of women and girls in Afghanistan at the moment, or in Iran, or closer to home, all the violence against women during the war in the Ukraine. And that's really devastating stories.
And I can see you've got an absolute passion for what you do at UN Women. So tell us a little bit about the exact mission of UN Women Netherlands.
Yeah. UN Women is the United Nations entity dedicated to gender equality and the empowerment of women. And as a national committee in the Netherlands, our mandate is threefold. We do fundraising for the global work of UN Women. We campaign in the Netherlands to improve women's rights here at home. And the last thing we do is uniting all different stakeholders. That could be civil society, corporates, NGOs.
What can corporates do to help the cause?
The corporates are the biggest platform for change. This is not something doing good for women. It is doing good for your company if you involve half of the world population.
Yeah.
And as UN Women, we have our own sustainable development goal. It's number 5. It's called gender equality. We really have to look through the gender lens to be able to attain all those other SDGs. So that's really a big and important message. You cannot leave out women and girls if you want to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in 2030.
Absolutely.
It's really time to stop talking and take action.
Yeah, it's not only a woman thing; it's a society thing. It's a men and women thing.
Definitely, and that's one of my other main messages, that we need men and boys to get involved as well. It is not a female problem.
Absolutely,
it's a boardroom issue. We need to involve men and boys, and stop seeing it as our problem, because it's not.
And I understand the Netherlands is 6th in the world from a gender equality perspective. Tell us a little bit about some of the differences that you see between, the work that you do at UN Women for the Netherlands versus maybe some of your other colleagues that focus on other countries where there's less progress.
Yeah. In the Netherlands, we should be really grateful that we are able to live in a democratic, liberal country as the Netherlands. But while you would ask younger generations, they would probably say, like, all those battles for women have been won.
Yeah.
But me, coming from the 60s, 70s, 80s, we know all too well how complex living in a male-dominant society is. The unfortunate fact is that women do not receive equal pay compared to men. And another unfortunate fact is that their representation in corporate life, in public life, in politics is not the same as men.
In my role at RGAX, we work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I can certainly see some of the challenges that are faced by female entrepreneurs and founders. Aside from your role at UN Women, you're also a co-founder. So you've seen firsthand, I'm sure, Liesbeth.
Oh yes, definitely. We need another webcast to really deal with that matter.
To go into it.
Yeah.
Okay. On that note, let's take a look at this clip of an interview that I conducted while I was in South Africa a few weeks ago with an incredibly powerful young woman by the name of Kimberley Taylor. She started her business, I think she was probably 21 or 22. But let's take a look. Welcome, Kim. And tell us a little bit more about Loop. I believe it's a disruptor across the African continent, and you've won numerous awards. Tell me a little bit more.
So Loop is a delivery management platform. So basically what that is, it's a piece of tech that helps businesses that do deliveries, collections, that have drivers around the country. It helps them manage those deliveries and drivers. It helps them optimize the routes that those drivers are taking, and it effectively scale their delivery operations.
And tell me a little bit about sort of some of the challenges you've experienced being a woman, being a young woman.
One of the lessons I've learned very recently, life can be unfair and business can be very unfair, but it doesn't mean that you're powerless. And it's really something that I've had to work through recently, because as women, we are naturally submissive, right? We get told these stories to, play nice, we say sorry often, these are things that maybe again come naturally to women, whereas men are naturally assertive, aggressive, and in fact they're celebrated for these traits, right? Whereas if you look at women who are maybe assertive, they could be called bossy and not perceived and celebrated in the same light. unfortunately, in business, it requires you to sometimes step into a very assertive role, to set boundaries with clients or, whoever it is that you're interacting with. And that hasn't come naturally at times for me, and I imagine for a lot of other women.
I mean, tell me a little bit about how you've experienced being a leader.
I think that that's actually a role that has felt very natural to step in, and I can see why women are naturally great leaders, because we do have this more nurturing, caring, empathetic side, which I think builds teams that are very aligned, very cared for, very loyal.
I'm curious to hear your perspectives on women and power and the word powerful.
So, I mean, when I think of power, I think of status, I think of kingdoms, and I can understand why men resonate quite closely with that. If you think about hundreds, thousands of years ago, we had tribes and people conquering land, and men were at the forefront of that, right? Because they're physically stronger. They definitely resonated with that, and they were good at that. And today we look at businesses being maybe the new conquering of land, and so I can understand why men have also been at the forefront of that. But equally, women, maybe not so much about power and status, but about creating an impact. When I think about what is fundamental in building a business, it's the two qualities I think about are self-awareness and resilience, because it's just obstacle after obstacle, and so you absolutely need that resilience, and I think that's why women are so perfectly positioned to build businesses.
Impressive, right?
Oh yes. To see such a young woman being so confident about her leadership skills, about her qualities, about her vision for her company. A great role model for girls in South Africa.
Yes. Women, young and old, watching that video, I mean, you can really see a woman of power, really. So before we wrap up, Liesbeth, I understand you and women do something quite special for Women's Day.
Yeah, that's true. I actually had to get up really early this morning because since 9 years we collaborate internationally with international stock exchanges. I went this morning to the Euronext here in Amsterdam, and we always organize the gong ceremony, officially called the Ring the Bell for Gender Equality. So we had this full morning of panelists, of inspirational talks, and focusing on the achievements of women in the workplace and in the marketplace and in their communities. Focusing on the importance of corporates to achieve gender equality worldwide, because great examples already have been achieved.
That's a great way to celebrate, Liesbeth. Next time, I'd love an invite. So next year, maybe we do the webcast at the Euronext. How about that?
It's a deal.
Okay. So thank you, Liesbeth. I've really learned a lot today about you and women, about women. Thank you very much for all your insights. And thank you very much to our partners and our clients watching today. To those of you who are women, happy Women's Day. Enjoy the day and celebrate large. And to those of you that are men, thank you for your support. And remember that investing in women is investing in the future.